Okay, sip of water. Check. Inhaler. Check. Let's do a podcast. Hello and welcome to In the Pocket, the bass guitar podcast where we get the lowdown on the low end. My name's Jonny, a totally average bass player, and each week I'm joined by a different co-host to talk all about that bass. So this week I am joined by the terribly talented full-time musician, producer, multi-instrumentalist, YouTuber. It's Daniel Childs, aka Rumblin Man.
Nice.
How on earth are you? How are you doing?
I think I'm doing pretty well. Like, I tried to sleep till 11 today, but it didn't go so well.
For those at home, that don't know, you are a full-time musician.
I am.
So, I bow down to you. And so
I bow down back.
So you got down, getting up at 11, that sounds like the dream. Is it a late night for you?
It is, man. I mean, if you play, I play fairly late in the evening. My goal is generally 5 nights a week. So, if I get home at 11:30, then, I might get to sleep around 3 o'clock a.m., sleep till about 11 a.m. and get up and mosey around, piddle around, change guitar strings and go do it again kind of thing,
Man, that sounds like the dream. You're living it.
Dude, it's a blessing. I found a niche that not a lot of people find. And it's this, because I'm a multi-instrumentalist, so I play guitar and bass pretty much equally. Like, I can't even say if I'm better at one or the other because I don't know. But basically, I found that here in Florida, if you can do like a solo act, like if you can sing and like play acoustic and go set up a sound system, then you can just work. Like, there's a ton of places that do that. And so, so I found a way to make a living.
Awesome. So is that what you're doing? Because I knew you had like your solo act.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing primarily then with these gigs?
Yeah, that's my thing. And then everything else is just side stuff, like YouTube and sessions and stuff like that. It's just all side stuff.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. And, we were just catching up before hitting record on this, that I've been watching your channel for years. So I've always found your content really helpful and just easy to watch, and just so I've always been enthralled by your channel. And
well, thank you,
because you do guitar and bass. I've always been like, when I see a new upload, please be a bass one, please be a bass one. It's it's a guitar one. That's fine. I'll watch it anyway. So you're invited on this podcast for one reason, for half of your personality,
for half of my
bass act.
Yeah, dude,
it's the low end.
It's weird, man. Well, I appreciate that. I sometimes wonder because, like, I assume of my subscribers, like I assume it's like a half bass, half guitar. So I just kind of wonder how like the guitar people feel when there's a bass video and how the bass people feel when there's a guitar video.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like you're appealing to both audiences, but then at the same time you kind of like not you, but like you think that you're alienating one or the other. But then there's people that are interested in both. Like I watch guitar channels as well, even though I'm a bass player. I just still love guitars though, just in general.
Me too.
Like, even if I'm not like, even if I didn't play any, I think I would still have them because I just love them.
Me too.
And I bet there are people out there that are like that just because they're just so wicked. So each time we have a co-host on this podcast, we like to ask them 3 quick fire questions to get to know them a little bit better. So first question for you is 3 words to describe your bass playing.
I should have prepared for this because I've listened to your podcast like 100 times.
It's not like I sent this in advance.
Here's what I would go with. I would say I would use the word melodic because a lot of the fills I write and stuff, they're kind of melodic fills. Like I like to do funky stuff, but I'm better at doing more melodic, major key kind of stuff. So that's word number 1. Word number 2 is, I would say, fundamental, in that I really stick to the fundamentals a lot. And it's mental, man. And it's fun. So
love that.
Fundamental. And then then I would use another word kind of cramming 3 words into one, and I would just go with meat and potatoes.
Nice. We'll do it like meat apostrophe N potatoes. Meat and potatoes.
Meat and potato. It's pretty meat and potatoes, you know. I'm not like Alan Brown. Like he does all this cool slap stuff, and I'm not like what's that other guy, Scott Devine. I'm not like I'm just kind of meat and potatoes with my playing, you know. Like
that is. I always love how people come up with like the same phrase but in a totally different word, and that's why I love that question so much. And that is one of the best answers I've had, I think. Meat and potatoes.
Meat and
potatoes, because it just
good.
sums it up perfectly. It's like your essentials, what you need, that's it. And yeah, because I'm pretty much the same, but then can be melodic in the places where it calls for it as well. Awesome. I really like those. Hopefully that gives people a better idea the kind of player you are, and it's an awesome player at that. So
well, thanks, man.
I can see an incredible Gibson. It's a grabber, isn't it? You've got on the wall behind you there.
I believe it to be a 1973 Gibson grabber.
That just to say, 1973, actually, Johnny.
I think it is. Well, it's actually. I remember I was trying to date it a few years ago, and they're actually you can't always date them, but there's one suggestion of there. I found one suggestion that with the numbers or whatever that it might be a 73.
Yeah.
But my dad got it from a friend of mine who bought it new, and I could ask him where he bought it, but he died during the COVID pandemic. So that kind of sucks.
Oh gosh.
Well, let's just make this real depressing then.
Yeah, it's all downhill from here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's incredible bass.
Well, thanks, man. I've got some DR flats on it, the DR Legend flats, which I reviewed some years back, but they're okay. They're okay flats, but they're aged like the bass, so you know
that helps. I feel like you can't put some okay strings on a bass like that. It's got to be like the best.
Here's the truth: I do have some Thomastic, or as you would say, Tomastic.
Yeah,
I believe would probably be the correct pronunciation. But the problem is this: it's really hard to adjust the neck on that bass because it's not an Allen key kind of thing. It's like a wrench kind of thing. And it's like, I don't want to waste the Tomastics, if you will.
Yeah.
On something that I can't hardly get the neck right.
Yeah. It must be, with like some vintage basses where they're not quite like, they haven't had those developments yet that make them really roadworthy, like playable, consistent instruments, and that's kind of the joy of them as well, the beauty of them. So I've been trailing away from this question, so I'm going to bring it back into the question that I'm going to ask. And I doubt it's that one because I don't know, it might be, but what is your number one bass?
Well, that actually might change soon because I don't want to spoil anything from, say, the Low End Lobster channel. I don't want to spoil any of his plans, but let's just say, he's been doing some mod videos.
Yeah, he's done a few of those. Yeah.
Well, let's just say one of them is going to be a bass of mine. And when that one arrives, he did some cool stuff to it. So when that one arrives, it could become a number one. But probably my number one is this Fender Road Worn Mexican P bass in Fiesta Red. Hang on, let me get it.
Nice with the gold, anodized scratch plate. Is that right? Yeah. I'm a sucker for that, like 50s aesthetic.
Sorry, that was a bit of a reach there.
To it.
Here we go. Bump, no.
Oh, it's so pretty. Yeah, I'm just a complete sucker for that 50s look, and that is a beauty. What year did you say it was?
I'd have to look up what year it is because it's a replica of like a 57 or 58. But what year was this made? How do you even know? How do you know?
I don't know. It's normally when you got to like type in the serial number into their website, and it sometimes it'll tell you.
Yeah, you never can figure it. And then I just put on it a set of these, the Dunlop flat wounds.
Oh, nice. Are you primarily using flats now?
I am using flats at the moment on every bass but one, which is very strange. Very strange, I know. But I have, so my number 2 bass is a Sire V3. I know that you're a fellow Sire lover.
I am indeed.
Got a blue Sire V3 back here, and I have rounds on it. So really, I either go to it or this P bass, and then I've got like just some other basses sitting around that I sometimes play, and every single one of them has flats.
Wow!
So I've got Roto Sound flats on one. I've got Thomas Dick on one. I've got Dunlop on this one. I've got DR on another one. Only brand of flats that I have not tried would be Labella. I haven't tried Labella. What about you? Do you like flats?
I'm slowly getting into flats. I haven't had that that eureka moment with them yet. I don't think. I've got the Tomastics at the minute, and I've had the what have I had? I've only had one other set. Oh, I had some Rotor Sounds. I feel like my next step might be, I've heard good things about Diodario Chromes, the flats that they do. I had lots of recommendations for that. And then, of course, Labella. But my God, are they expensive.
So, number one, Roto Sounds I know are from England, right?
I think so, yeah.
Or somewhere in the UK. Because Roto Sound is how everybody always says it on the YouTube videos of Roto Sounds, because they're always like a British guy.
Yeah.
What does British even mean? Like, if I say you're in Britain, you're British, but I can also say you're English. What does it even mean?
So British is if I'm in Great Britain, which is like, it's almost like a group of countries, and England is the company. That's the company, the organization I work for.
I knew it.
Damn it! My boss, Boris Johnson, will never let this out.
It's the Matrix.
So England is the country I'm in, and that's within Great Britain, which is England, Wales, Scotland, and one of the islands. I can never remember which one. I'm sorry, Ireland. I know maybe Stephen McGrath might be watching this. I'm sorry. I always forget which one is in. Maybe I'll edit it in later. I'll leave a gap here to edit it in.
There you go.
So that brings us on to our last question. Not a last question, the last of our quick 3 questions to get to know you. It is, why did you pick up the bass? Why did you pick up the bass, man? Just why?
I was bored one day. No, you know what happened, man? I was 13, and if you hear something dinging against my window, it is a cardinal that keeps flying against my window. So I apologize. It does this all day, every day. But no, I was 13, and I had started playing guitar, and then this band needed a bass player. No, typical story. And the bass that I played was that Grabber. I've actually had it since I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was that. And then
first bass. That's mad.
It was cool. And then my dad had like an old bass amp sitting around, and so I started playing bass in this band. And then I've had this just totally conflictuous, if that's even a word, conflicted journey all these years. It's been like sometimes the guitar player and sometimes the bass player, and so it's like been equal focus. So it's possible that I never got all that great at either one of them.
Jack of all trades and all that,
because I was playing the other one too. I don't really know, but
well, it sounds like what I think you need and what you were born to do is play the double neck guitar, one bass with one guitar.
Oh man, wouldn't that be great? Oh man, and like in my show, that would be so cool, because I do some looping, because then I'd be able to like loop with bass and guitar.
You can pay me back later. It's fine. You can have that idea.
I wonder if there's any like acoustics that are like that, but it would probably suck if there was, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know how like it would resonate, like those two frequencies. I think it might be a bit weird.
Maybe an acoustasonic. Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us a little insight into you here.
Thank you.
We're going to crack on with our first question of the podcast. So, to submit questions for this podcast, you have to go onto Instagram, follow me at Jonny Dibble. You don't have to follow me, but that's probably the only way that you're going to see the poll that I put up on my story for you to submit questions. And every single one of these questions today has come from there. So make sure you're following and get involved, get in touch. That is how we do things over here. First question comes from Callum Ord Music. Callum, I know I've had a question for you before, but I can't remember if it's Callum Ford or Callum ORD Music. I'm just going to say it how it's spelled. Hey, maybe I should just don't explain myself. I should just say it and just offend someone. That's how I'm going to do it from now on.
There we go.
Callum Ward Music says, what's your essential piece of gear? Not a bass. So, essential bits of gear. So, for this one, there is an obvious answer for me, but I'm going to kind of exclude that one because the obvious piece of gear for me is a tuner. Like, I'm not going anywhere without a tuner. I'm not doing it by ear. I'm not being that guy on stage going boom, 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 boom. No thanks.
For sure, man.
So I'm going to take that one out. That's a given. And that would just be a boring answer, I think.
Hey, check out this tuner.
Oh, what is it?
I don't even know what it's. This is like $10 or $20 on Amazon, and it rocks.
Oh, nice. Is it good for bass as well?
It's great for bass and guitar. I don't even know what it's called, but I'll send it to you later. Anyway, sorry, because no one can see that, so never mind. But it's battery operated. I don't have to plug it in. I can just use it on the fly. It rocks. Sorry.
Nice. So I think I'm actually, I'm going to try and remember that because I think I saw one in a cash generator shop, which is kind of like our version of like a pawn shop. So I saw like a old like tuner pedal like that.
Oh, you said pawn shop. I thought you said porn shop.
Sorry. For us, pawn, same word.
Nice.
It's pronounced That's cool, man. The same for us. So yeah, whenever somebody says, they went to a pawn shop, I'm like, excuse me? What? You went to what?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's funny.
Question. What was the question?
It was the essential piece of gear.
That's right. So for me, I've always stuck by this because for me, it's a preamp. I am a stickler for a preamp. I don't think I've ever not had one on my board since I got my first Sans amp when I was like, maybe 17 when I got my first Sans amp, I think. So, wow, that's 10 years. 10 years with a preamp. So
which Sans amp?
I had just the bass driver DI, like the standard go-to classic one.
Cool.
Which at the time didn't have like the mid control, anything like that. And I've kind of gone back and forth with that since. Like, I sell it, get a dark glass pedal, and then I'll be like, nah, I don't want this anymore. Oh, I'll try an MXR. I just missed the Sans amp. Then go, but I do it every time. It's a vicious circle. And so I need the next one I get, because I don't have one at the minute, I'm going to keep. And if I decide to take it off my board, I'm not going to sell it because I know it'll only come back around again. For me, man. And it's essential for me because I was so in my gigging kind of life, I'm always playing with someone else's rig. Like, I'm used to only playing in original bands where we're like first or second on the bill, and we're rarely headlining because we weren't that big, and so we'd always be playing on someone else's backline. So I'd have my head and my pedal board, and when you're using someone else's cab or someone else's full rig, say if they've got a combo, I want to know that I'm going to be able to have my tone or like a nice clarity presence and punch that I love that the Sans amp delivers. So I've got it all there on the board, ready to go. I'm a pedal guy. It goes basses, then pedals, then amps. So naturally, I like to keep the tone in the pedal board. So yeah, that's where all the magic happens for me. For me, it's probably going to be a preamp. I think my essential. What about you, good sir?
Line 6 Helix LT.
Oh, what a cheat. Nice. So obviously that's like an all-in-one kind of effects unit, isn't it?
I mean, you're familiar, because I know you have the Stomp, but I mean, I actually use it for everything. I use it for bass, electric guitar, and acoustic guitar. because it's so flexible for both. But speaking in terms of bass, the other one I think you have as well, is the Zoom B3N, which is the old Zoom B3. That's a great one that I always was using for bass, but Helix LT is just, man, there's so much customization. And when it all comes down to it, really all I need is that in my bass, and I can take on pretty much any gig or any session, even, you know.
You've got it all there. And what kind of effects are you running mostly on there? Like,
well, I've been making patches and releasing some patches, and I opened up a patch store and all that stuff, so that people can have it. And I do include overdrive a lot. I don't use a ton of overdrive myself, though. I'm more of like, an amp simulation with a good preamp DI kind of thing. Give me a bass chorus, and that's almost it, man. Sometimes a synth or an overdrive or distortion if needed, but usually I keep my tones pretty freaking simple.
That's the way it's got to be sometimes, nice and simple and not too much getting in the way. But I do love me a bass chorus. That's something that I'm sorely missing from my board at the minute. I've got a phaser at the minute, but no chorus in sight. So
do you have your? Yeah, you might. Do you have your HX Stomp on your board?
No, not anymore. It is permanently. It's right here where I'm pointing.
Oh, it is?
It's on my desk. I use it as like a home unit.
We just finally got, because the HX Stomp and Helix products, we've always just had like all these guitar choruses, but we finally got a bass chorus in it it's the Ampeg liquefier, and it's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
you need a bass chorus.
I'm going to be honest. I know. I had the old I had the Boss one, the blue one, and that thing was like my first chorus pedal, and I had nothing wrong with it. I absolutely loved it. I just thought it was great. And I kind of want to go back, because I had that paired up with what was it? The Aftershock. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. It's like an orange distortion pedal that does fuzz and overdrive as well, all in one. Oh no, that's it. It's by Source Audio, and it's called the Aftershock. And I paired it with the chorus pedal, and oh my god, like beautiful, nice saturated modulating distortion. It's so good. And then I sold it because I got bored, and what an idiot. That's the bane of my life. Of course I could just buy it again, but I like to, if I'm going to buy something again, I'll try something else, to see what I like and things like that. But,
have you heard of the Aguilar Corsaris?
Yeah, man. I like it just for the name. I'm sold.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like a dinosaur or something. But man, that pedal has some really sweet stuff, like some really cool sounds. I'd love to have one. You should get one.
Nice.
You should get one.
Maybe I should.
How it is.
I'll test that one out for you. Maybe just send me a list, mate. Send me a list.
Send it to me if you don't like it.
I'll get through it.
Exactly. Yeah. I will.
We've got a very good system going on there. I like it.
I do too.
So essential piece of gear for me, it's going to be a preamp, and for yourself, it's going to be the Helix LT. Is that right?
Helix LT.
Nice. Does it all in one nice one package. Beautiful. Let us move on to the news. Welcome to the In the Pocket news. I'm always undecided whether to do that, like properly do like a news segment, like do let the music in the background.
That's a cool idea.
But can I be bothered? Who knows? That's the question I just always ask myself. Can I be bothered though? We'll see. That's what people like about this channel, right? It's just kind of hokey pokey. So it is, the date of time recording is the 11th. Yes, the 11th of April. And being the month of April means that it's been April Fools. And my gosh, am I the fool this year? Of course, companies like to do their April Fools posts. And yeah, they got me. They got me. And I only saw the one, actually. Now, the fact I only saw the one, that means nothing. That means that I only noticed that one was an April Fool's after someone told me. I might have, hell, the rest of the things on this list might all be April Fools that I've not noticed. Who knows? But the one that got me was Sterling by Music Man. They posted out a picture of their new bass. Now they've just dropped their 22 line of like their like all new finishes that they've got on the Ray 34s and the Ray 35s. And so I thought, oh, this makes sense. There's a new bass. And it was a Majesty Stingray. So a mix between the two. And it looked insane. Like it's not for me. Like I don't really like the Majesty shape, but
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, this thing looks like wild. And I was like, that is going to be someone's dream bass. So I was like, that will sell. People are going to love that. And so I shared it on my story and was like, wow, look at this. And then I got like a flood of messages of people being like, yeah, no, that's not a thing, by the way. I was like,
oh no,
they got me. They got me. So,
oh no.
I know. Yeah, I was like, damn you, Sterling. Got me.
Bummer.
But yeah, did you see any April Fool's post that got you, music related or not, I guess?
You know what? I didn't see any April Fool's posts, period. I'm not even sure what I did that day, but I didn't see any.
I mean, that you know of.
Yeah.
you might have been just consuming it all day, but like, oh my
Could
gosh,
be.
Trump's back as president. Oh my gosh.
Some people say he is.
Yeah, he still hasn't left.
Yeah,
he's still there now.
I've heard it all, man.
He's hiding in the pipes.
Yeah. I've heard it all, man. I've heard it all. Yeah, so that wouldn't surprise me. No, I think I was actually on an airplane April Fool's. I think I was in transit, like trying
honestly,
to get back
I
to
think
Florida.
that's the safest place to be on April Fool's Day.
It probably is.
There's just like bullshit being thrown at you left, right, and center, and you don't know what to believe. And every news story that comes out, even if it's something really serious, you're like, nah, people are like, no, that's April Fool's. It can't be real. So
it could also be the worst place to be on April Fool's if the pilot says that we're going down and people start jumping out the window, But
he's like, is there a pilot on here?
Yeah,
that's not April Fool's.
It's unmanned.
Christ. Nice. Well, let's move on to the next bit of news, which is Harley Benton. Now, people that watch my channel will know Harley Benton well. I'm sure you know Harley Benton well as well. Made by Toman and insanely affordable guitars. So whenever they do a new release, and let's be real, normally and sometimes a bit controversially, they rip off other designs because everybody does it, but they do it a lot, and it's because they're trying to offer affordable versions of like a Rickenbacker, like a Thunderbird. They're trying to get all the classics within their range, but so people can have them at an affordable price. Just explain their entire business model, why don't I? So they have teased a new bass, and it features something that I've been waiting for from them for a long time. They're finally catching up because they're doing it. They're doing roasted maple necks. And I saw this post of like, they just posted like this really cryptic, weird angle, like kind of the horn. It looked like a sharpish horn of like this almost transparent white finish with a tortoiseshell pick guard. It looked like a P pickup, and then this 5-string roasted maple neck. And like the internet was on fire. People were gassed about it. Look at this thing. This looks insane. Just from this one picture of like that cropped it in so much. I am just gonna. Oh, that's weird. I opened my Instagram and it was on. It was on their page. That's very odd.
That's really weird.
I just went to check it out to see if they'd updated it, but they haven't.
I'm going to look. So it's on their Instagram page?
Yeah, man.
Harley Benton. Or is it Toman? Oh, it's Harley Benton.
It's on Harley Benton. Yeah. Now, there's been speculation about what this is going to be. What bass it's going to rip off. They say it's coming out soon. I don't know. People are saying it looks like an aria, like an old 80s aria, like the wood grain and the shape of the horn and the fact it looks like a P bass pickup in there. And so it could be like a PJ. And somebody sent me a picture of what they think it is, and it looked pretty darn close. I cannot remember the actual name of the model though. But
that could be a jazz pickup though.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It could be. To me, the housing like around the magnet just looks a bit fatter.
That's what looks like P-bass, but I mean, they could have like fattened their. Well, why would they do that though? That'd be stupid. So yeah, it probably is a P-bass pickup.
You never know. You never know. But I'm excited regardless to see what this is. I think it's going to be in the higher end of their instruments. You know, sometimes they get up to like, for some of the guitars, I think there's like £400 ones. But like, that's their equivalent of like their £1,000, you know, American made versions, you know.
Yeah, man.
That's the top of their price range. So I think these are going to be up there, or like the £300 to £400, which is obviously going to be super competitive for what it is. And hell, we don't even know what it is yet, but regardless, something new is coming. I've reached out to them and said, hey, come on, send me, come on, hook me
Did
up.
you really?
Yeah. I messaged them and was like, put me in touch. Come on, let's
Any
do it.
reply?
No. Although, I said in my message, I was like, look, you know who I am. They put out a Facebook post of my video once and sponsored it. So they put money to like boost my video to reach more people. And I was like, that's really cool. Thanks for doing that. So hopefully they know who I am and they'll hook me up. But who knows?
Sire has your videos all over their website.
It's on their website.
Or wherever. I was looking at Sire the other day and it's nothing but your videos.
What? I did not know this.
Let me explain myself. Yeah, I go to their website on the regular just to like look at it and wish that I had more money to spend.
that's what I do 9 times out of 10. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, like if you click on the new P5 thing.
So got Low End's video there.
Huh. Yeah, they do have Lobster's vid, but no, I promise you, I saw the other day, like I was on their website browsing around and like I looked at like a few different bases and it's all you. Promise.
It's all you. That's so cool. I saw they did repost me on Instagram the other day. So that's pretty cool. But
yeah, I saw that too, man. That was awesome. I freaking love Sire so much.
Yeah, they're cool. And like I'm hoping Harley Benton are cool as well.
Hey, that'd be nice, man. It's amazing how many companies don't call, you know what I mean? Like,
well, sometimes you got to be like, hey, look at me. Hey, come on.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Before they actually bite or anything.
I've done a lot of that.
You're like, come on, please. You got like hanging the carrot in front of their head. Come on, this is what I can give you. Come and get it.
Yeah. I would totally work with you if I were any company because your videos, like I was saying earlier, man, your videos are just awesome. You've got a great camera view and all the cool editing and stuff. I freaking love your channel.
Thanks, man. You're making me go even more redder than I already am. Just a big old tomato over here.
At least you're alone in that room.
That you know of. You don't know what's going on under this table.
That's true. Anything could be.
That's just for me to know.
My bird's yelling in the background. Oh, that's funny.
So, yeah, Harley Benton. I hope that this is something really cool. The one thing that I am a bit disappointed though, because it's not a grabber copy, and everyone is screaming at them. I'd say everyone. It's probably just me and Patrick Hunter just screaming at them, saying, "Make a grabber! Make a grabber! Come on, give us an affordable grabber." No one's ever done it.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Exactly. That would be so cool. And yet they seem like reluctant to do it. They're like, nah, we could do our weird Marquez bass instead. No, nobody wants that.
Dude,
some people do. I don't.
I mean, the Grabber G3, that was, to me, that was the coolest grabber because mine has that floating pickup where you move it to whichever position, which, I mean, it's cool. And it has a really classic sound that really takes me back to childhood. But like, man, the G3, I have heard demos of that. I've never actually played one, but I've heard demos of that, like on YouTube and stuff. And when they have all three of the pickups going at the same time, I heard one video in which they did, and it just sounded so killer.
Those things are unreal. One of my favorite bass players, Jeremy Davis, who was the old bass player of Paramore. I'm a big Paramore fan, and I'm not
Oh.
ashamed. They're like my favorite band. But they he in the later years used a G3, and it sounds unreal on the last record that he was on. Incredible.
You know, I'm from the same town as those guys. I like went to the same school apparently. Franklin.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Franklin.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Have you ever been to America anywhere, United States?
I've been twice. So the first time I went to Florida, but that was like when I was like 7 because of course, we went to Disney for like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Then, but we did like do some hovercraft, aircraft stuff in with like the alligators in the swamps, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, man.
So that was cool.
Nice.
But then the second time we did like a road trip we landed in San Francisco, then went to, God, it sounded very British then. San Francisco we went to. Then we went to Yosemite, then to Death Valley, which was insanely hot. It's like well, for us it was like 50 degrees, which for you like Celsius. So what's that for you? Like what between 110 120 Fahrenheit, I think is like crazy.
Oh my goodness.
You could feel your eyeballs drying, like as you're walking along.
That's way worse than Florida.
They had like a naturally heated swimming pool there that was like filtered from a local reservoir. I love that this isn't bass related at all. This is just how this podcast goes. And it fed into the pool that they had there at this like ranch that we stayed on. And it was the weirdest experience ever because it was like taking a big bath, but your whole family's there. So, because you're all just swimming around in this swimming pool, you're like, this is a very strange experience.
It's not so unusual in that part of the country.
They're like, yeah, we do this all the time. Whatever the weather, bathe with your mama.
That's cool, man. That sounds like one killer. I haven't even been to those places, and I'm from the United States.
Then we ended it in Vegas. So definitely,
I love Las Vegas, man. That's a fun place too.
Yeah, I was like 14 at the time, I think. When we
so you couldn't go on the casino floor or anything.
Oh, no way. But now I'm a big boy. I'm a big boy now. I could go back. So who knows? One day I'll make my debut back to the States.
We'll have to meet up.
Yeah, man. I need to do because through doing all of this, I've met so many like amazing people, yourself included, online on this community, and you're all in America. So I'm gonna have to come over and like do a tour and go around and see everyone, or meet up or something. Because it'd be awesome.
I'll buy you an American beer. We have these beers that you've probably never heard of called like Bud Light.
No, never heard of that one.
And Miller Lite.
It's actually, we don't have that. Well, here
you don't?
We've got Bud Light here, but not the latter.
You don't have Miller Lite? That's the one I drink out at the bars and stuff. I mean, I assume it's American. I mean, it's called domestic. It's not called import. So I assume that's American. I don't really know though.
Nice. Well, from where I am in Somerset, it's all like cider, like apple cider is like the big Somerset drink. So like a big scrumpy cider from the local farm down the road. That's
nice.
that's like our go-to drink here, because we're all like, the funny thing is, the more we drink of it, the more we sound like pirates as well. Our Somerset accents just start turning into war,
I had a pineapple hard cider at Epcot and Disney.
And how was that?
It was pretty tasty, man.
You can get all sorts of blooming things now, but yeah, I'm a sucker for a classic apple, like a medium. And I'm getting festival vibes just thinking about it. My tongue is bringing back so many memories.
Yeah, man.
So this has been a fantastic news segment. Actually, we've got one more. We've got one more item on it, which isn't really a piece of news, but I thought it was just kind of interesting because I saw it in the week. And it was actually a story I saw. Normally it's just all gear related stuff, but this is a story which is related to gear, to be fair. From Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now with the release of their new album and going out on tour, an interview Flea did, said that he is changing from Gallien-Kruger, which he is, kind of synonymous for, like always having that big GK stack behind him. He's moving over to Ampeg to have a SVT set up instead. And a lot of people on the internet have been like, whoa, this is huge. What news? Oh my God. I mean, he doesn't really see it like that either, because I've got a quote from him here when someone asked him about, like, what, why? And he's, this is all his quote. He said, to be honest, I've always thought it doesn't fucking matter. You're bringing your heart and your fingers, and that's all that really matters. But I've been really enjoying the SVTs. They are the center and the character of the sound that I love. Thought that was a pretty good quote. And yeah, that quote of like, doesn't matter. Like, he's like, who cares? Like, this is just what I'm liking at the minute. And, fair enough. A lot of people will be like, oh my God, he's not using a GK anymore. But I would say that GK and Ampeg are quite similar sounds, really. Like, quite, they can get quite driven and scoopy. Like, although going to an SVT sound, that's obviously a bit warmer, maybe a bit more lows because of those tubes. But the Gallien-Kruger RB heads, that's like one of my favorite all-time heads, honestly.
Dude. And I would never knock Ampeg because I love Ampeg. And they're foundational to the word bass amp, And in fact, I just did a video about this because I was doing kind of a review of all the Ampeg stuff in the Helix. And the Helix, has the B15. It has 2 versions of the regular SVT. It has the SVT4 Pro.
Yeah. Which
is incredible. And it's awesome.
Yeah, but that's my go-to amp that I've just always have on my HX Stomp, because it's just, I love that sound.
It's mine as well. And like, I do some pretty scoop sounds, like what you were talking about. You turn on the super bright and the super low and all that stuff. But that said, so great. But GK is like amazing. Like, every time I've had the opportunity to play through a GK amp, I freaking love how it sounds. Like, I don't know why anyone would particularly switch, or maybe it had something to do with his relationship with the company. I don't know.
Ooh, are you like casting shade here? You're setting up some kind of conspiracy here, man? There's shade.
I tend to do that. But
it's just my way.
But I've seen that happen before. Like, I've seen musicians like leave a really great brand for another great brand. But it usually had something to do with some sort of, internal relationship coming to an end or something like that. I don't know, just speculation.
Yeah, could well be.
I'm like that conspiracy guy that suddenly comes on the news interview, like there was a perfectly good, news story one time, and then they got like Mark Dice on there, and he just started going at it with, I'm like that guy. I'm the guy who interrupts the stream of regular thought to just bring something absurd that no one would ever think of.
Like, to me, this doesn't sound normal. This sounds like a feud with the company of Flea.
Exactly, man. That's
nice.
That's totally me. But I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Ampeg rocks.
Yeah, man. Like I said, can't knock them. Their Ampeg are insane. Gallien-Kruger, I still want to get an RB head. Because I played one, the first time I played one, my orange, I think I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again, damn it. My orange bass terror head, the little like lunchbox one, one of the tubes stopped working. And so the whole thing kaput, wasn't working. So I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And I had this Ampeg SVT 610 cab. That was my cab at the time. I was, wheeling around with my like, I think I was like 22 at the time, like struggling to move this thing around. But incredible amp. Anyway, the head packed up, and so I had to borrow the support axe head, which happened to be the Gallien-Kruger. That paired up with a Sans amp, paired up with my Schecter Model T PJ bass it was at the time. Oh my God, I was in heaven. To this date, still one of my favorite live tones I've ever had. And I put it down to that head because, I'd had that same setup with the orange, and it sounded good. I liked it, but did not touch that at all. So yeah, that's my experience with GK, and I really want to get one again someday because they're awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. I have a bass gig playing bass at a church on Sunday mornings. And so I use my Helix to go to the house. And then for monitoring on stage, I use an amp. And it's a GK head into, I don't remember what the cab is. I haven't been in a few weeks. It's like it might be an Ampeg cab. I don't remember. But they just rock, man. They sound so freaking good.
Yeah. I use the GK on the HX Stomp for my like jazz bass patch setup that I've got. It just suits it so well. It's just so good. And yeah. You've got me into thinking about, right, well, now after this, I'm going to go and look and see if I can buy a Galleon Kruger.
Oh, man. Now, good luck. That's going to run you a few pesos there.
Yeah, I know. Damn it. And I've got a new bass arriving tomorrow as well, so I can't really afford to do that right now.
What sort of bass are we talking about? Or is it a surprise?
Now, it was going to be a surprise, but I have trickled it out there on Instagram somewhere in a comment, and you know, I like to treat the listeners of the podcast as the premium listeners, the ones that are here for the long run. And so I've just bought a Sterling Ray 34, so a Stingray.
So the Majestic inspired you.
Well,
left a void.
Well, I've had a void since selling my Ray 24 CA, my old Sterling. I sold it to get the G&L that I just put a video out on. And, you know, it didn't really do the Stingray thing. So I was like, right, well, I need to get another Stingray now. And I've always wanted the Ray 34. And I saw one come up, good price. Now, I was holding out for the new ones because I think they're the same spec, but they got these like sparkle finishes, which I want to see in person because I feel like I think they're great, but I don't know if I'd like it in the long run, you know. So I contacted Sterling and was like, hey, like I did to Harley Benton, hey, hook me up, come on, let's do this. And they were like, maybe. So they put me in touch with their UK supplier, like the distributor, to get like a cost price on one, basically. But they said they don't have them in stock until the summer. And I was like, I can't wait until the summer to get a Stingray. So
yeah, man.
So I just bought this one. And yeah, can't wait.
Dude, I love it. Like, I mean, as YouTubers, like if we want products to review and, you know, there's a lot of times when, and obviously, you know, if you're working with a company, you do have to disclose that. And we totally do. It's no secret if we're working with a company, but I love it because I can't always afford to buy this or that. And it's not every day that a company says yes and will just send you something. Sometimes they will. But I love it when a company will actually reply to me and say, yeah, we'll send you one to check out. You know, it's not every day that you get to keep it, but sometimes.
Yeah.
It's always like, yes, I get a piece of gear and I don't have to, you know, shell out all this money. But
that's it. And that's why I'm like having to work in the buy and sell market so much, especially as I'm like under 10,000 subscribers or whatever. Like it sucks that like companies would just look at you and see a number, you know, sometimes and be like, no, they don't have any clout, you know. And so the companies I want to be working with, you know, that I need to make sure I'm buying and selling to make sure I can afford to build up reputation to a certain level. And then hopefully things will just fall into place and people will be knocking at the door. Jonny, review this. Send me this. That's a dream that I had last night, which, you know, probably won't come true. Here's hoping, right?
Dude, I'll tell you what. I mean, in my mind, you have like 20,000. Are you under 10K?
Yeah.
You'll get there so quick, though, because I got to 10K way quicker than I thought I would.
I'm on we're doing like I'm on 8,613 right now.
Oh, it'll happen so fast, dude. I give it a month or 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it's there because I've set up like the 10K base giveaway that we're doing now. So for listeners of this, you know, go and comment on one of those videos because then you'll enter your chance to win a base that we build together as a community. So
you're going to build it?
Yes, it's begun. Hang on. There's the body.
Oh, that's right. I saw that you're going with shell pink.
Yeah, baby. It used to be.
So is it a P base?
Yeah, it used to be black, and I sanded it down and painted over that dull black finish with this lovely shell pink. And now,
So where did the body come from?
so I got it for free from
Ooh.
from a audience member, because I put on a live stream. I said that I want to like do a relic project but do everything wrong, and just like chuck it around a car park and like drag it behind my car, set it on fire, all these things that nobody would want to do to their own bass in fear of messing it up. I want to mess it up so that other people don't have to, that kind of thing, and just go wild with it. So but I've had this sitting in a bag in the back for like a year and a half, just doing nothing, because I never got round to doing it, because like life just got in the way of that video. And so then when I was like, right, I think I'm going to do a giveaway for when I hit 10,000. And I considered giving away a bass up here, and I was like, I don't know. What about, I know. Let's give away that one. But then I was like, no one's really going to want that. So then I was like, let's mod it. Let's mod it together as a community. So everyone's like voting on the things. So yeah, it's
what kind of neck are you going to get?
Well, I think I'm going to keep the neck stock, the one that's on there, just because it fits. And it's not a bad neck. It is going to get treated though. So I'm going to darken the fretboard wood on there, and my friend Aidan Pouncey is a great guitar tech, and who I took to, if I need any pickup stuff done, I'm terrible at soldering, so I always, I'm going to give it to him from now on, or to do any setups that I need, any like drastic changes. He's going to sort it out for me, so he's going to make it all smooth on the edges, get rid of any kind of fret issues, and he's going to do a full setup on it, as well as installing and shielding the whole thing. So hopefully it'll be nice quality bass for someone to have that's made out of like a hunk of junk, essentially.
Cool, man.
But yeah, could be exciting. Wow, what a detour. That was an incredible journey of conversation.
That was a really beautiful, we could probably talk for days.
Let's write a book. Let's do it now. I've
always wanted to
talk about the title later on.
It could be an ebook, and we could sell it as a download, and
that's essentially
make $100.
All millions of hours of work going into this thing. That's all.
Would anyone buy it though? Would any of you guys out there buy the ebook? Please let us know in the comments.
Please, we've ordered so many. We've poured so many hours of money into this. Please, let's move on to our next segment. So, second question. Wow, it's only question 2. We're nearly an hour in.
Wow.
It's question 2. But here we go. This one comes from Louis Mayhead, who's actually like a subscriber from like right at the start of the channel. So it's so cool that still get involved. Thank you, Louis. This question says, what are your thoughts on using a bass as a guitar, in brackets, Royal Blood style? So I thought it was interesting when you said about being melodic and, being a guitar player and playing bass as well. I thought this was actually quite a fitting question. And I've got some thoughts, but I'd like to hear yours first, I think. Not using a bass as a bass, but using it more like a guitar. What are your opinions on that statement?
Well, there are purists who would say, it's a sin, and, this and that, a sin punishable by hellfire to use a bass like a guitar. But I think that's ridiculous. And I think that, here's what I think. What's the guy's name? Mike Kerr or something like that is, and I think what he does is like the bass will just be a regular bass, but he puts like guitar strings on it. And, or does he? I think it's guitar strings on the bass.
So as far as I'm aware, I thought maybe it's thinner strings, but I thought they were just bass strings. But then he's obviously doing all this biamping and splitting the signal into 2 amps and things like that, and using lots of pitches.
Yeah, he totally does the 2 amps. I don't know. I mean, like bass got where it is today because of the new ideas. Because the thing is, if the natural evolution of bass was, in the 50s and 60s, you had people who played with a pick, and they were usually converts from guitar. And then you had people who played with fingers, and they were usually converts from upright bass. But then I mean, you get into like the 1970s and we started to see people do weird new things, but those weird new things have now become fundamental, such as Larry Graham and slapping the bass, or, Jaco Pastorius, the kind of stuff that he did. So I think if it sounds good and you still sound good as a band, then why not? And they do sound good as a band.
Yeah, totally. And like, why not? Is like, if it sounds good, and that band do sound phenomenal, as you say.
Yeah.
I think it really, there are no rules when it comes to music. Yeah, there's sheet music and all these technical theory rules, but that aside, there are no rules, and that's what's exciting about it, is when somebody takes an instrument and does something unexpected with it. And yeah, people have done stuff like this before, but not quite to that level, perhaps, or not so much that in the mainstream that's like really shaken the world and really gotten people talking about bass guitar, because it is, quite, it's so cool and revolutionary, I think, for it to be so popular. And yeah, I think it's amazing. And hell yeah, why not use a bass as a guitar? Now, we're saying this, but it works in the context of that band. Right. What I think doesn't work is work. How do I say work? I can't remember. That's how I say it. What doesn't work is when, when you've got a full band, you've got two guitar players maybe, and then you've got a bass player who's trying to be a guitar player. And you can always tell when there's a guitar player playing bass, I think, or who doesn't regularly play bass.
And it's so annoying. No, I know. I thought you mean a guitar player with a bass in a sense. I thought you meant a guitar player who's playing a guitar, but they're playing all the low notes that we.
Oh, I see. Yeah, getting in our frequency, bugger off. No, I meant
happens a lot.
Yeah, and so I think that when you get a bass player that's maybe soloing or doing things in kind of the places that you might not want to necessarily, or he's not filling out that pocket. Great name for a podcast, that, isn't it? In the pocket. Nice. See where yes, I got it. So that's where I think using a bass like a guitar doesn't quite work, when you're not trying to get the same effect. But for a band like Royal Blood, hell yeah, because you're trying to get that effect. The whole band is that effect. So I think it really works. And I don't know the origins of Royal Blood, actually. I don't know whether it was just like, no, we can't be bothered to get some guitarists. I'll just do it myself. What's the easiest to do? Let's just do this, I don't know whether that's how it came about, but if it is like that, then that's really cool. And that's just a situation blossoming into something beautiful.
I saw this band at NAMM, and fairly popular band. I don't even remember who it was right now, but there was no bass player. It was a drummer and two guys playing 8-string guitars. It's like one of them would operate more in the bass frequency and the other one would operate in a slightly higher register. I don't remember who the heck it was. Someone I had heard of.
Yeah. Interesting.
3 years just really goes by,
I think this question, because NAMM was so far away and they're not doing it this year either, are they? So
I don't know. What's NAMM? What's NAMM?
Who? What?
Was I there? Yeah.
What is it? It's got
I don't know.
3 M's at the end, isn't it? NAMM? I don't know. NAMM.
Numb, I think.
Numb. That's what we're feeling right now.
Yeah, we really are.
So yeah, I think that it can work, but also it can't work. There's a fine line sometimes. But if you're going to use your bass as a guitar for something like that, great. Just don't step on anyone's toes. I think that's probably the key, isn't it? Don't mess with anyone else, and it's got to work for the song, hasn't it? If you're going to use it like a guitar, or like it's got to serve a function. If you're just doing it to show off, or just to do like a little noodly thing, that's cool in places. You've got to be selective with where you're using that in the pocket. So yeah,
I think that's very well said. Very well said. I could see, and I've had a feeling lately, because I have a feeling that that there will be a surge in popularity of playing chordal bass, like chords on the bass. I think,
really,
because I've seen a couple people do it lately, and I think that's going to rise in popularity. And I think ambient bass playing is going to increase in popularity as well.
Yeah, so and chords lend themselves to that as well.
Yeah,
ambient
they
play.
really
I think
do.
they sound great. Now, when you say chords, do you mean like on like your D and G string, or like any string across the fretboard?
I'm thinking like any string. Like, I mean, here's my bass. So like, there's a chord. That's a C sharp or something.
Yeah.
I think actually playing chords on the bass, still keeping it in the low end of the mix. But I've just seen a couple people do it. I think it's going to get popular. I was actually called upon recently at a church thing to play ambient bass because we had a guitar player, and the guitar player is more of a blues guitar player. But ambient guitar in church worship music right now is like huge. So he's like, hey, look, this guy doesn't really play ambient guitar. Can you play ambient bass? So I made an ambient bass patch on my Helix. And so I kept it all pretty low, but I did a bunch of reverbs and delays, and I went,
Yeah.
and you know what? It sounded kind of sweet. And I think people are going to start doing that a lot more often.
Yeah. I think you could be right there. I've been certainly seeing a lot more of those effects becoming more popular on bass, and becoming more like bass focused ones as well coming out, which is really cool. And things like, your Dark Glass, Exponent, I think it's called. I don't know. Their new head has got all of those effects built in as well. So clearly there are markets for it, all this stuff. So yeah, really cool. And hell, why not? Let's see it happen. I've not mastered the chords yet. I can't make it not sound flubby and farty and bad on the lower strings, but I'm constantly using chords on those top two strings all the time. And actually, thinking about it, a lot of times, when people get the P bass pickup, but it's switched the other way around, so that you've got the coil closer to the neck for the upper two strings.
Reverse.
That really helps with like chord stuff as well, because I know that's why like Mark Hoppus has his like that, because he does a lot of chord stuff on those top two strings. So people, it is conscious, and people are thinking about it, that kind of thing. So interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We said it first, or you said it.
We
first.
said it. We did. We did.
Let's move on to the next segment. This segment is, I always say it's probably my favorite segment, because it is That Tone You Own. I've got the bass guitar body on my lap now, and I keep tapping it. So I don't know if the mic's going to pick that up.
I hear it.
If you hear tapping, then that's me. It's nothing else, I swear. So, That Tone You Own. Before this, I asked the almighty Rumblin Man to bring along a tone of his that he considers to be either a signature sound or just one that he's just enjoying at the minute. And boy, did you deliver. Let's have a listen to that tone right now. That is just a no nonsense, incredible tone there. And I mean, if I get this wrong, I'm going to feel really terrible about myself. But that's a P bass, right?
That is the P bass I just showed you a little while ago.
Phew, thank goodness. I always get so much pressure in those moments. I'm like, I start overthinking it. Like, yeah, that's a P bass. I'm like, oh my God, what if it isn't? And then I look like a right chump.
With the Dunlop flats I just put on.
Yeah, as you said, it's like, predominantly using flats, and I'd already listened to that sound clip, and I was like, yeah, I can totally hear that in that sound clip.
Yeah,
for sure. Sounds awesome. What are you going into from there?
So that was a surprise. It was a Helix patch.
Wow.
trying to remember which Helix patch of mine that was. You know what? I think it was one I made. Yes, it was. It was one I made called Dual Peg, which I actually featured in a recent vid. But basically, that patch is the P bass, and it's going into the SVT 4 Pro, simulated, obviously, with two big SVT speakers panned halfway to the left and halfway to the right. And then, so at first I was playing fingerstyle with the tone knob down a little bit. And then I think I had like the ultra high and all that stuff on. And then about halfway through, I rolled the tone up. And then toward the end, I kicked on the Ampeg liquefier bass chorus a little bit.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say that because I was like, I swear there's a little bit of chorus in there as well. That I heard. I didn't know if my ears were just deceiving me at the end. But you do kind of get this stereo effect from that rig, which sounds like really fills it out. It's really cool.
It's pretty dang cool, man. I'm really enjoying experimenting with, mono things, stereo things, and then doing some bass chorus. I just love the sound of bass chorus. It doesn't always even work, but I love the sound of it.
No, sometimes it can just suck the low end completely out and you're left with
it. Can screw you over just like any effect can. I mean, too much of any effect can really screw you over.
Bass players really just are artists, aren't they? Just really getting the most out of the tools that they use and just having to fight the tools that we're being given. It is an art form. I say
it really is.
So the pickups, I don't know if we mentioned it earlier. Are the stock pickups that are in that bass?
Nay, actually, I took the stock pickup out.
So.
The stock pickup was like a late 50s recreation of some sort, but to me, I just didn't like how it sounded with flat wounds. I thought it sounded pretty good with rounds, but with flats, I didn't like it. Oh. And I put in the Sonic Pickups Bygone P-bass pickup.
I don't think I've heard of that.
From the good men at Sonic Pickups. You haven't heard of Sonic Pickups?
No, man.
Yeah, really great company. I believe the guy's name is Mike, who I've actually worked with him to do the review of the P-bass pickup a while back. But Mike, I think he lives in California, and he makes these pickups by hand. And sometimes he'll even go live in his Instagram feed or in his Instagram story. And he'll be sitting there like making pickups while he's just chatting live.
That's really cool.
Sonic Pickups totally rocks. And so that's the pickup I have in there. And I'm really happy with it, actually. It's a really killer pickup. Very well balanced, very clear, very punchy.
Nice, and, it suits those flats really well, I think. It gives you a nice... It's like a really warm mid-range almost that isn't too like nasally and too pokey, but just really... sits really nicely in that mix without being too intrusive. I think it's really nice.
It rocks, man. I mean, it's got a lot of, having, flats on it, there's always going to be quite a bit of low end, but if you're contributing to like a live mix, then quite a bit of low end can be pretty dang helpful.
Absolutely. That's what you're there for at the end of the day. That's what they want you for.
Yeah, man.
Incredible. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that as much as I did because it sounded so good.
Well, thank you.
Let us move on to our last segment. It is time for the big bass debate. Now, the big bass debate is just a question that somebody submits that I think, that sounds like a good title. Or that sounds like a good thing to talk about for an extended period of time.
Oh, yes.
This one is very timely, and I thought it would tie in quite nicely. It is from Bert Allen Peter. Sorry, I can't remember how to pronounce your surname. So I'll just say it wrong. And with confidence. The question is, do you still trust Fender after the humbucker scandal? Now, a bit of backpedaling. I'll do a bit of explaining about what this is. So, what was recently brought to light by friend of the show and, common friend, mutual friend of us here is from Low End Lobster, is that Gretsch have been lying to us. The Gretsch Junior Jet Electromatic G2220, however you order those words, I don't know the name. Basically the short scale bass that actually Mike Kerr from Royal Blood used to use That's funny how these things will tie in, isn't it? And I've got one up on the wall behind me as well. They sell them with, quote, mini humbuckers. Every website you'll go on says humbuckers or mini humbuckers. And after experimenting, when our friend Low End Lobster, who I'm sure you will all be aware of, got his hands on it, discovered that this is not the case, or at least not with the kind of modern incarnation of these basses.
With your help, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
He mentioned in his video that you were pretty instrumental in this process, because that's how he found out it wasn't just his bass either.
That's right. Yeah. He sent me a message and said, I don't think mine is a humbucker. It's definitely a single coil. So he recommended me picking up this, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it now, like a little green sheet that shows the magnetic poles that are happening there. And he basically said, look, you're looking for this line if it's like a COVID test. You're looking for this line, just the single line if it's a single coil, and 2 lines if it's a humbucker. And yeah, this one had the single line. So unfortunately, it's negative for COVID, but it's positive for single coils. So no humbuckers in sight, which is, pretty misleading. And, we say Fender because Gretsch is owned now by Fender. If you didn't know. So as well as like Charvel and a load of other companies as well. So yeah, really interesting. And, people are fuming, and Low End was, rightfully so, very angry at this, and has refused to do a review of it. And it said, I'm calling you out, Fender. Come on. This is not good. I want to hear an explanation, because at the end of the day, it's false advertising. And Fender have been in hot waters before for this kind of thing, or like just for being very naughty with almost like with their power that they have over the market, which I think is dwindling a little bit, because people's perception is kind of starting to come down a little bit. I think there will always be purists out there, and hell, I'm one of them. I love Fender, but yeah, dangerous times. It's really interesting that they decide to do this just for the sake of selling a few more, perhaps. And it's really sad, because it's a phenomenal bass, and like it speaks for itself. So why did they feel the need to say yes, it's humbuckers when it's actually not? What were your thoughts on this when you saw him reacting?
Well, I believe this as of some time earlier today. I believe this scandal has officially been called Humbuckergate.
I did. I was gonna put that in the question. It might go in the title of the video.
Well, I believe that's what it has been called, because we've had Alan Brown, Akabully the Kid, comment on it, and Lobster.
Yeah.
And then you have me watching those guys' videos, just kind of taking it all in, because I don't have I've got a good friend here in Florida who has that bass. I've even borrowed it from him before and used it, and I do like it quite a bit. But what the heck?
That is the correct phrase. I just don't get it at the end of the day. The only thing I can think of is why that they would do it is just to shift a few more and try and sell it. Unless, humbuckers are inherently more expensive to produce. And this is a very affordable bass, very good bass, and insane for the price. Are they just trying to cut corners here and be like, yeah, that's a humbucker, right? Now, Low End discovered that his had lots of buzzing, and that's what initially triggered him to investigate. Now, I didn't notice that with mine personally, so I never thought like, might be single coils. I just kind of took it at face value because it didn't really have that much of an issue. So yeah, maybe there's some weird. I know he did have 2 bridge pickups wired in there as well, which is wild, and that's not uncommon. We've seen things like that happen before. With I know the Sire D5s, the first time they got shipped out, and it happened with his as well. They were wired up incorrectly, a first batch of those, which he found as well. I suppose when you're reviewing so much, you do get some stinkers. And I had two Squire contemporary PH basses. The new ones have to be sent back because they both didn't work. They were both fresh out of the box, didn't work, 2 different colors. So you'd think they're from 2 different batches as well. So You know, it does
Honestly,
happen,
man.
this thing, but what Gretsch have done is as another step over the line.
And I don't really know the internal details of the company, like where the pickups would actually be made and who would be in charge of the production of that. I will say this: I'm not the world's hugest fan of stock Fender pickups in general, to be honest. And that's not to bash Fender. I'm the one of the biggest Fender guys, and I've got like 6 Fenders, you know. And sometimes I love their stock pickups, but I've got like every Fender electric instrument I have except for one. I've changed the pickups because I always think the Fender pickups, you know, might sound a little muddy or not as strong as something else. So it's like, you know, Fender, especially in their Mexican factory and no doubt in their, you know, Indonesia factory, they've got plenty of sucky, lame humbuckers sitting around. So why not pop one into this Gretsch bass? Why pop a single coil in it? Or how much did Fender have to do with the decision making? I have no idea.
Yeah, that is a question, because although they're ultimately responsible as the parent company,
Yeah.
are they actually involved in this? In what level? Like you say, I probably not a lot, and I might be wrong there. I literally don't know. I'm just speculating. But from
Lobster sent me something. He sent me an article, and I will read to you what it said because it may shine some light on this. That said, I mean, I know one or two people who work for Fender and totally good people, so I don't really know who all would know about this. But I was chatting with Lobster about it earlier, and he forwarded me this article from 2002. Iconic companies ink deal take Gretsch to global level, and it's from when Fender kind of officially stepped in. And let me see if I can find the sentence I was looking for. As part of the deal, which is effective as of January 1, 2003, Fender Musical Instruments Corporation will be responsible for all aspects of the Gretsch stringed instrument product lines and brand names, including Gretsch guitars and basses, Synchromatic guitars, Electromatic guitars, and Gretsch's line of parts and accessories. Development of future new products, including Gretsch branded amplifiers, is also a part of the deal. That's from 2002, 20 years ago.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, that basically point blank says Fender is responsible.
yeah. Well, at the end of the day, they are, aren't they? And they're going to be the ones that are going to have to cover up or try and backtrack on this unfortunate mistake, in quotes. You know, it's just lying at the end of the day, and it's not something that we ever want the consumer to have to go through. And it honestly, it gave me a bit of a stinker on mine. I was like, I don't enjoy playing this as much anymore. It hasn't changed the bass in any way at all. Like I said, I think Bully the Kid said the same thing. Doesn't take away from it. It's still a brilliant bass. It's its own, like, you know, it's a short scale, so it's got this tubby, really nice, plenty of low end. You know, it's great, and
I like them.
I don't really with the sound. I wasn't like, oh yeah, no, that's single coils, and I'm definitely missing a humbucker here. You know, but at the end of the day, they cannot be lying to consumers because it's just
Weirdest
not good.
thing
It's just not right.
ever. I mean, could it be something as simple as could the person, you know, working for Gretsch or Fender, you know, who is in charge of writing the description of the instrument, whatever that job title would be, could it be that that person was uninformed, that maybe that person looked at it and saw they looked like humbuckers and didn't know?
Maybe
I have
you
no
never know.
idea.
But then you'd think that, like, you know, I come from a marketing background where, you know, if you're producing something for a course or something, it goes through so many levels of like copywriting and checking, and it goes off to
Really?
this person to be checked. Yeah, you know, for like some text that's going on a website. So you think for a product that that those spec sheets would be perfect, you know, that they'd have to be, but you never know. It might not be organized in the same way. I don't know what they're doing over there at Gretsch, but yeah,
We've either got one of two things. We've either got intentional deception or we've got ignorant deception. I want to know, is this intent? I mean, if it is intentional, they're not going to be honest. But if somebody could please tell me, was this intentional sabotage, intentional deception, or was it ignorant deception? Because you kind of got two different things. One, you can apologize for and be like, hey, we messed up. The other one, you can apologize and say, guys, I really screwed you over and I intentionally hurt you and you wasted your money and I really am sorry. No, I'm not going to give you your money back. No, I'm not going to do anything to get it right. But yeah, I did and I'm sorry. Or maybe I'm not. Who knows? I lied.
Probably not. Probably
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I would love to know. And if anybody out there, maybe somebody out there works for Gretsch, who knows, knows any more about this, about that process, or about what they think might have happened here, or maybe even what they should do, because there will be people out there wanting some compensation for this and are probably well within their rights to get something back from this. But whether they'll put out, who knows? So yeah, if you know any more, let me know in a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, anything like that. Send either of us or Lobster, in fact. I'm sure that, he'd love to talk to you all about this. I'm just setting his DMs alight now.
Oh, yeah.
With any information you might have about this, because it's a constantly unraveling story, I think, that I don't think we'll see the end of. And it'd be really interesting to see if Fender react to Lobster, because Lobster's got some clout, he's got those contacts, and he's contacted Fender to be like, hey, what are you going to do about this? I'm not stopping knocking until you answer the door. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what they react with. And let us know if you have any more information. So I think that, did you want to say anything else on the topic then?
No, I was thinking about Fender in my head and just, I mean, of companies that I have admiration for, like of companies who I think have a pretty cool structure, make a great product, it's Fender. Do I like their pickups all the time? No. Do I like their strings? Absolutely not. But I'll be surprised by the answer if it turns out that Fender, like if plenty of people were aware of this, that will really be a disheartening surprise to me, because just of the respect that I have for the company. Usually, I mean, I can't say I respect every single thing they make and every single decision they make, because I think, for instance, like switching the classic vibe Squire line from China to Indonesia was a big mistake, because they used to be such better feeling and playing instruments. But so I can't say that, I fully subscribe to every decision they make, because that'd be ridiculous, but it's still a company that I personally have a lot of respect for. So I'm really interested to hear what the situation is.
Absolutely. And like we said, we don't know how much, like that was in 2003 they were acquired, then how much the structure would have changed 10 times in that time, no doubt. So what is there some kind of middle management, something here that's happening where somebody's not telling the truth, or is it really back up to Fender, or is it someone do they kind of just leave Gretsch to their, although they own it and are responsible for it all, do they kind of lead them to their own devices in a way? How much investigating are they doing into the products? I don't know. So whether we're going, Fender, it's your fault, bad, like I said, ultimately they are responsible. Is it actually their fault? I don't know. know. We will see. And excited to see the outcome of this constantly unraveling story.
Indeed.
So that brings us to the end of the podcast this week. Mate, thank you so much for coming on. It's been
thanks for having me,
blast.
Man. Maybe down the line we can do it again, or actually if I ever start a podcast, then I definitely have you on sometime. I think about it sometimes. I just don't have time yet, but it's a lot of fun, man.
Do it, man. I'd love to come on. It would be incredible. And
awesome.
Good fun times all round, baby. If you're listening to this on some kind of audio device, on a Spotify and Apple Music, there is a rating system. So leave us a 5-star review. If you hated it, leave us a 5-star review, because that would really annoy me for some reason. Just 5-star reviews all round. Thank you to everyone that has done so far. It helps with something to do with algorithms. So do it. Do it now, right now. If you're listening to this on YouTube, drop us a comment down below. Maybe ask us a question or comment on something that reacted to in here. If you know anything about this whole Fender Gretsch situation with Humbuckergate, Hashtag humbucker. Yeah, just comment. Hashtag Humbuckergate. Nice. And subscribe, like the video, etc., etc. I always say I need to write an outro for this podcast because I just kind of like just list things off at the top of my head. Oh yeah, remember to do this and this. Oh yeah, and this. So yeah, who knows? But hey, that's all part of the chaos, right? That's what we love. It's all raw. I like my love raw. Anyway, shut up, Jonny. Let's move on with this. Once again, mate, thank you so much for coming on. What are you doing right now? Where can people find you? Sell yourself.
I am about 6'1", 263 pounds. Not my body, you mean? Okay, I'm sorry.
Looking for local singles in your area.
Well, I'm married, but, just looking for friends to hang out with. No, I'm just kidding. Find me on YouTube. I'm on youtube.com/Rumblin Man. So you can find me there. And then I just developed a new patch store where I'm selling some Helix patches, some Zoom patches. That's rumblinman.com.
Nice.
Thebomb.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Go and check it out. I'll leave all the links, etc., in the description of this episode. So head down there and have a look. Go and check it out. You will not regret it. Guys, once again, thank you so much for listening.
Awesome.
We'll see you next time.